Ladies and gentlemen, I don't make build videos very often. It's kinda just not my cup of tea. In general, it's not content that I truly enjoy producing. But if I stumble upon a setup that I've really been enjoying and having a lot of fun with, I think it's worth sharing. Like this one here, it's been a blast. Wink, wink. Ace Accelerant. And I hate giving a loadout a cheeky build name, but it just kinda rolled off the tongue. Ace Accelerant. One thing that I usually don't like about specific builds is they ask you to adjust your playstyle to that build. And while this kinda does that to a certain extent, it also allows for a good bit of flexibility in your loadout. But hey, before we get into it, if at any point you do find this video useful, helpful, or enjoyable, feel free to leave it a like. And if you're not already, consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel. I do my best to produce as much content as possible, and any support that you're willing to give is greatly appreciated. So for the build, we're going to need a few core pieces to make this happen. First and foremost, a Warlock. Wait, what? You don't play Warlock? I mean, that's cool. Nobody's perfect, right? But for the subclass, you can really run any of them. They're all going to work to a certain extent, except for Stasis. And keep in mind there may be situations where you're going to want to switch things around, depending on the shield types you're facing in a given activity. But to realize the full potential of the build, I'm going to say go Void. For our exotic armor piece, we're going to be using Chromatic Fire. With our light-based subclasses, Precision Final Blows with a kinetic weapon create an explosion in the element of our subclass. For our exotic weapon, Ace of Spades. I just reviewed this gun, you should check that out. But we're taking it because Ace and Chromatic Fire go together like peanut butter and jelly, or spaghetti and meatballs, chips and salsa, you get the point. They have a very unique synergy because of Ace's Firefly. Precision kills with this weapon increase the reload speed, and cause the target to explode, dealing solar damage to nearby enemies. Up until Season 14, Ace was the only kinetic weapon that could come with Firefly. But now Hung Jury is back in the game, and can roll with this perk. If you were someone who was fortunate enough to find this role, which I have not been up to this point, it would work also, and free up an exotic slot for something else. The same can be said for Fatebringer, the legendary hand cannon that you can snag from the Vault of Glass raid. And with it being a kinetic 140 RPM hand cannon, it is stepping on Ace's toes just a little bit. But for now, I'm rolling with Ace. When Ace and Chromatic Fire are working together, landing a Precision Final Blow will create not one, but two explosions. One solar and one matching our subclass element. But with Ace, when you have Memento Mori rounds loaded into the weapon, provided you have the catalyst unlocked, that Firefly damage is going to be increased. And in that weapon review that I just did on Ace, I found that the damage increases by nearly 100%. It almost doubles. So this increased damage still does give Ace a leg up on our other two kinetic Firefly options. For the next aspect of the build, we're going to turn to the seasonal artifact and take Energy Accelerant. Throw it on our class armor for a whopping 2 energy. This is going to double our Firefly damage from Ace yet again. And it's a big difference. Just the base Firefly from Ace was dealing around 5,400 points of damage to red bar targets in a lost sector. When Ace had Momentum Mori rounds and Energy Accelerant equipped, that damage went up to about 18,500. I was pretty sad to see that Energy Accelerant did not increase the damage from the Chromatic Fire explosion, but it still hits for a good chunk, dealing about 8,000 points of damage to a red bar enemy. All things factored in, that's about 26,500 points of potential collateral damage being dealt in this controlled test environment. And really, we could stop right there and all would be right with the world. You'd have a nice simple setup, capable of evaporating packs of enemies by the boatload. But if you want to amp things up a bit more, we can do that. Since explosions are the theme of the day, let's roll in some Warmind cells. Now, two main options. First, the old reliable, tried and true Wrath of Rasputin mod. Solar splash damage final blows have a chance of creating Warmind cells, and this mod is only costing you 1 energy. But also in the seasonal artifact, we have Warmind's Decree at 3 energy. This is going to give Void splash damage final blows a chance to generate Warmind cells. So which one do you pick? Me personally, I say why not both. I like going with Top Tree Voidwalker because not only do our grenades and our super have a chance of generating Warmind cells, but this skill tree also has the Bloom effect, where defeating an enemy with one of our abilities will cause them to explode with void damage. This is going to do the trick also. So we have Ace dealing solar damage, making use of Wrath of Rasputin if the Firefly explosion downs an enemy. And if that's not enough punch, the secondary Void Blast from Chromatic Fire could make that Warmind cell pop for us. And yeah, I could just throw on a solar subclass, only equip Wrath of Rasputin, and call it a day. But Warmind's Decree also adds some more value to one of my preferred heavy weapons, my Chain Reaction Crowd Pleaser, which is already seeing a lot of extra collateral damage from the Energy Accelerant mod, now has the chance of popping out a Warmind cell as well. Rounding out the build, for the energy weapon, it's really your call. But in this case, I'm turning to the Breachload Grenade Launchers. Salvager Salvo more specifically, and while it doesn't synergize with the Warmind cell aspect of things, it does have Chain Reaction making use of Energy Accelerant, and it provides arc damage, which this build is lacking. If you'd rather roll with Truth Teller or Deafening Whisper though, both are void. So both would work out with the Warmind cell creation side. And an added benefit to running 2 grenade launchers, you get to double dip on grenade launcher mods, saving you some energy cost on your armor, since you're only going to have to kit out for 2 weapon types, not 3. Some additional mods though, Overload Hand Cannon and Unstoppable Grenade Launcher on your arms if you're going to be needing to deal with champions. Also Burning Cells, because setting enemies on fire kinda makes me smile. Lastly, Taking Charge with High Energy Fire. In this build, we're running weapons that are stacked with high multi-kill potential, so Orbs of Power are usually laying around like sand on the beach. Being charged with light is commonplace, and since High Energy Fire's 20% damage bonus is applied to any of the explosions created by our weapons, why not? General thoughts on this build. If explosions are your thing, and committing mass genocide with a single trigger pull is something that you're into, this is a really cool build. Every single weapon that we have equipped in this loadout has some serious explosive potential. And these just aren't some little puff of smoke explosions. These blasts can carry some serious damage. But you do kind of need to watch how much you ask from it. I mean, in low to mid level content, you're going to blow through absolutely everything. As you make your way up into higher end content though, where enemies generally have larger health pools, they may not be dying to our blast damage quite as frequently. And this can really take a lot of the appeal away from the build. Also, we don't have any anti-barrier utility here. So if you are looking at soloing some content where barrier champions are going to be present, you're probably going to have to make some adjustments. And for this build to really feel powerful, it does require content with high enemy density. In a lot of the older content of Destiny 2 that was left over from the vanilla days, it felt like we were just walking around picking off 1 or 2 enemies at a time. And for that, this setup is kind of underwhelming. But in something like the Glassway Strike or the Disgrace Strike, any activity really, where you can just move around the map, planking baddies in the head with Ace, and the game can't even keep up with displaying how many enemies you just obliterated, this build feels really, really good. And when I'm playing a video game, that is the feeling I want. And just like any build, the options that I highlighted are not the only options. I mean, slot in different mods, mix and match different weapons, whatever feels right for you. I'm sure you picked up on the general premise. Splash damage for Warmind cells, and perks that will synergize with Energy Accelerant. But if you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you're not already, for more Destiny 2 content in the very near future. To contact me, you can look for Ironworker814 on Twitter, join our channel Discord, link will be in the description, or comment down below and I will do my best to get back to you. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this build video. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.